Please join me in welcoming Peter Brock's wife, Gayle, to present her husband for induction into the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America.
I just have to take a picture of you lovely people. Right. Jay Leno once introduced Peter Brock by saying that before he met him, Jay looked up Peter's accomplishments and thought he must be 117 years old. What struck me, however, when I met Peter is how people approach him constantly to tell him how he has changed their life. It reminded me of the movie It's a Wonderful Life, where Jimmy Stewart is shown how the world would be different, and not in a good way, if he hadn't been born. Last November, Peter turned 85, and we invited people on Facebook and email to wish him well. I thought it best to share some of these people's own words to convey the effect Peter has had on the world. Said by many, they say, beware of meeting your heroes for risk of being disappointed. Do not be afraid to meet Peter Brock. He will exceed your expectations by listening to you with genuine interest, answering your questions, sharing his expertise, and being modest to boot. The cool thing about Peter Brock is he's just one of us, only brilliant. A common story, whether it be at Shelby American or BRE, I rode up to Shelby American on my bike one day. Peter gave me a tour. I couldn't believe this guy took me seriously. It gave me confidence to pursue my dreams. Now with my own successful shop, I pay it forward every time an enthusiast walks through the door. This is from a builder of million-dollar supercars today. Pete took me under his wing more than 25 years ago. He gave me good advice that I still use today. Multiply the expertise he shared with thousands of other car guys, racers, engineers, designers, and car makers, and he has made a huge impact on multiple generations. Lastly, I want to share part of a letter Peter received in the mail more than 15 years ago. I admit I'm going to try and keep it together. Mr. Brock, you probably won't remember me. I found your mailing address on the internet and felt it important to share my thanks to you. 5 years ago, I was sitting on a plane next to you. I recognized you and struck up a conversation. You were so easy to talk to, I soon found myself sharing my most personal fear that my wife and I were losing our son to drugs. He was a young adolescent and hanging out with the wrong crowd. His grades and school attendance had plummeted. His future looked bleak, and his mother and I had tried everything we could think of to turn things around. Nothing was working. You then said the words to me, project car. You need to get a project car that you'll both work on and will become his when done. Take him to car shows to talk to adults about their cars and about his car. Soon, kids with drugs will look like stupid stuff to him. I got home and immediately found a basket case Chevy, the same kind my son had as a Hot Wheels car. He acted indifferently at first, but I saw the spark in his eyes. Soon we were getting our hands dirty working on that car and talking about life and the challenges of growing up. His grades improved, and last month he graduated high school with honors and has a full-ride college scholarship. My wife and I have become the envy of our friends. I remember like it was yesterday when God answered our prayers and put you on that plane next to me. I want to thank the Motorsports Hall of Fame for inducting Peter Brock, but most importantly, I want to congratulate you on inducting such a great human being. It's a wonderful life with Peter Brock.
I don't know quite how to follow an intro like that, you know. It's very touching, but it's always pretty obvious to say that it's always a matter of timing and good fortune. And I've had an opportunity to work with some of the really great guys in the automotive industry. And I don't even know where to start, but going to work at General Motors when I was 19 and having the opportunity to work for Harley Earl and Bill Mitchell and having the opportunity to take the lead in designing the Corvette. You know, I was 19 years old. And it was incredible. But the leadership of those guys and the vision, I mean, they'd been working there from before I was born. And they taught me so much about art and life and design and how to work with people. And that's been the whole thing that I've had this opportunity to pursue, because I've always loved racing from the time I was 12 years old. So the opportunities, I left the design business when I was just 21 so that I could go racing, because that was what you had to be when to get a license at that time. And that turned into an operation working with a guy in California, a great guy that was a real mentor in my life that did a lot of changes and taught me a lot about building cars, and that was Max Belchowski, who built some of the great specials in Southern California that were blowing off all the Ferraris and Mazdas. And through Max, I got to meet Carroll Shelby, and that just really changed my life, because I went to work for Carroll as his first employee and had a chance to do everything. You know, my real goal was, of course, to drive for Carroll, and but I just didn't have enough experience, even though I did all the testing on the original Cobras at the beginning. The car was so successful when we first went out that it was just an instant. The next day, everybody in the world with a name driver was calling Carroll, you know, whether it had been Dan Gurney or Phil Hill or Bob Bondurant or, you know, everybody. And there went my ride, because all the real guys came in and started driving that car, and we won the world's SECA's championship in 1963. And this was a real major change in that year, because prior to that point, the SECA had been primarily an amateur organization that kind of frowned on professional racing. But there was this group of guys in Southern California called the California Sports Car Club that knew what racing was all about, and really changed the sport. And it was Carroll's success with the Cobra, with bringing in professional drivers, and the first big major races on the West Coast, sponsored by the Times Mirror, became the biggest race in the world. It was paying more than Formula One at that time, and brought all these top guys in. And I got a chance to be around all of that and see the way people did things. And it was just the ability to work with these people that were building these great cars, like Phil Remington, who I brought into the Motorsports Hall of Fame a couple of years ago. Just geniuses, real artists. It was such a pleasure to work with these guys and learn so much that when I finally started my own team, all of that stuff really paid out, and it was successful, more than I know what to do, because I got to work with such great talent. I mean, I had an engine building guy that had building named Art Early, who was 86 years old when he came to work for us, and has been running the Champion spark plug dyno down in San Pedro. And he came in and started building all our engines, and I started racing Datsuns. It was the first time anybody ever seen Japanese cars in racing, but we really converted those into, you know, real California hot rods and made a success out of it, and started winning championships, beating Alfa Romeos and Porsches and Triumphs. And it really brought together an incredible group of guys, you know, people that just changed the world of racing. Guys like Mac Tilton, who was our crew chief on this. So the opportunity to work with all these people has been the thing that's been the best thing that I've really had in my life, and really enjoyed it. And so being selected to come into the Motorsports Hall of Fame. one thing I forgot to say, the only reason that I'm successful is my wife. She does all the smart stuff that I can't do, like runs the business, So, and just absolutely been a real success. We have a business building race car trailers in California, out in Henderson, Nevada, and it's going into really a monster business for us.
Now, George told me we can't talk about our products.
Okay, great. So thank you all very much.